Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, short track fans, good evening tonight. We have got another one here for the Five Kings Motorsports Cricket Line Racing Tour Modifieds, Langley. And this one's going to be a wild track here because it is definitely a tough one to get around with these Tour Modifieds. Well, qualifying, and I tell you what, man up on top right now on pole, Thomas Axiom, who has just actually came out and just kind of dominated. He started the season kind of low key, saying one thing, and now he's just out here trying to prove a point, I guess, and win a lot. But we're coming to the end of the season. Got a couple more races left, and Tanner, I'll tell you, it's going to be a good one.
I'm telling you, I'm pulling up our points right now, Joe. I'm excited to be here at Langley tonight. When I look at this track and think of this track, I just think of one big circle. I mean, that's basically what it is. Yeah. It's not. Now, granted, all our tracks thus far this season has been quote-unquote short tracks, but I feel like this takes the cake. This is along the lines of the Oxford Plains and tracks like that, you know. But taking a quick glimpse at the points right now, you got Thomas Axiom. He's won 5 races, so, I mean, of course, he's got to be the points leader. Of course, I mean, but he's got a 24-point cushion over Jason Raymond, who's currently sitting in second right now. But as we know, after the night, next week, or if we put it off since it's week 13, that's still up in the air. But that's double points night next week at New Hampshire. Double points night. So that's gonna. I've seen 2 guys' seasons be make or break when it comes to double points. We had about a 31 point gap one season that got thrown away on double points night, and I've seen it go the other way. So I mean, it's when you bring in the double points night, that really, really shakes things up. And now there's some people on here, Joe, they don't like it. I think
it makes it interesting.
Both ends.
Makes it interesting, yeah.
Right. As a viewer, as a broadcaster, and first and foremost as a fan, because that's what I am in this series. I love it. I love how it shakes things up. As a racer, if I'm going in with that 24-point lead into the last week and I have a chance of losing because of double points, I'm not going to like that. But these drivers knew what they signed up for when they came, you know? So that's just, it'd be New Hampshire next week, but it's Langley tonight.
And that, you're right about that. And I guess some guys talking about the double points, because on the flip side of that, it actually could benefit Thomas. I mean, if he comes out and does and keeps doing what he's been doing all season, a double points night is just going to extend that even more. So, yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword. But like you said, guys behind him, that's their chance to capitalize and stay within striking distance. And they have, even though there's many wins. I say it week in and week out, consistency wins championships. We've seen it in the past in racing. You can win all the races in the world, but have some bad ones, and guess what? You're done.
You're exactly right. And, I mean, last season, we had Zach Murphy. He was atop the points table, points chart all season long. Went to that last race. Didn't have a bad race either, Joe. Had a really good race, but it was Jason Day had a little bit better race. He actually won the race, and that was the difference. That was all he needed, was finish a few spots ahead of Murphy with the double points on top of that, and it pushed him ahead. And that's what these drivers are looking for here tonight, because this is when gamesmanship's going to come in. If I'm somebody like Thomas Axiom, do I want to come out and win Langley and start in the back next week on double points? I don't know. I mean, that's something that I'm going to pull him up in here in the broadcast booth. We're going to have a word with him, since he is our fastest qualifier, and we'll ask him. But that's something to think about. Like, what do you do in that situation, really? And that's why I love it, Joe. And speaking of Thomas Axiom, we actually have him in the booth now. Thomas, this is Joe White, Tanner Moore, in the OSR Network booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
So I just threw this out there to Joe. Going into next week, that's double points. Not overlooking tonight. You got a 24-point cushion coming into tonight's event, right? Do you look to win tonight and start in the back at double points night next week? Or do you even think about that? Or do you just think, I'm focused on Langley tonight, we'll think of New Hampshire next week? How do you approach a race like that?
Now you said that, I actually, last week, I thought about it this week. I said, coming into Langley, it's honestly, it could have been helpful not winning last week. Coming into Langley, this is kind of a crucial night. This is a hard night to pass cars. So if you're mid-pack or back of the pack and you get caught up in something, your race could end in a matter of seconds and finish last, and he wins or second. That point gap diminished. So last week finished like 7th or something, so I knew I'd have a chance to start on the pole this week, and definitely know I need to have a good week this week. Knowing next week is double points starting in the back, we'll be okay, because Loudon's going to be a big tire saving, because I don't think you're going to be seeing a lot of pitting tonight, but there'll be a lot of pitting next week for the big race next week.
Right on. I mean, so I'm hearing basically you're saying we'll focus on we're going to go for the W tonight, and then we'll worry about starting in the back next week. Is that correct?
100%.
Right on. That's why I love it, buddy. I love you. I love Zach Murphy. You two are the type of guys that y'all are going 110%. It don't matter if you're starting in the back at Oxford Plains next week. You're still going to go hard. So that's what I love about you, Axum. You got that big win last night. Still ain't sent the money out. I'm sorry. I'll send it out after this race. I do apologize. But got that big win last night, so we'll be up here calling the action, maybe talking to you at the end there, brother.
Yes, sir. Huge momentum from last night. Really hoping to make it 2 for 2. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, I mean,
you hear Mr. Axum right there.
Yeah, and you're right there, and just listening to him, you can hear the confidence. And I mean, you know, when you've won a lot of races, you're putting it on pole week in and week out, you definitely got the confidence coming in. And he is right. He said something there talking about you probably won't see a lot of tires or pitting tonight in the front anyways, and we've just seen that all season long.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about in Discord. That's actually, it's funny he even said that, because we were talking about that before we even went live. How tires have not been a fallback plan for these guys. These guys up front, they have elected all season long to save their track position, because the ones that have actually went against that and went in and took tires, they've never been able to net positive that. Meaning, if they went in 4th, they've never been able to really get back to 4th or better. And it's just all about track position. We know these short tracks, they're hard to pass on. And let's be honest here, we've had some races that have not been drawn out with long green flag runs. So that means there's been a lot of caution laps and not really a lot of race laps. The one thing I want to hit on tonight, we have some new faces in here that are not new faces. They just haven't ran with us in a while, Joe. Jason Warren, that guy's an animal. Like, he is ridiculously fast. AJ Rogers barely missed the points championship season 1. Glad to see he's back. Aiden Young, Zach Murphy, Brad Carpenter. There is some really fast guys that suited up in this lobby tonight. Not a big field again, but I'm liking it right now. I'm liking seeing the caliber of drivers we have in here. I'm expecting fireworks tonight.
Oh yeah, it's going to be good. Let's grid them up here and get set to go green flag racing Langley tonight here with the Tour Mods and the Crooked Line Racing 5 Kings Motorsports. And Thomas doesn't have much work to do tonight. Going to be out front. Now, is the man in the back that has to go to the back?
That is Mr. Coffee, and I think he's in the 10 machine tonight. Alex Coffee. He elected to not take a... Yep, he elected to not qualify. He told me he wasn't going to qualify, so that's interesting. Usually, you know, our person that wins the previous week, they still want to come out and qualify just to see where they stack up, you know?
Sure.
But Coffee said, I'm not going to do it.
Putting all his cards on the table, that's what that is.
Right. But as you see, he's not all the way in the back, so as race control, they still got to give him the EOL, put him all the way to the back, so he's almost back there. He's going to go one more row back at least.
Yeah. All right. Getting set to go green flag. They grid them up. Axiom out front. Warren there in second. Rogers third. Carpenter fourth. Had Aiden Young back out here getting up in the fifth. So this is going to be kind of exciting when we have not really seen a lot of guys. It's taken them a while to come through the field. They've had to have some help with some cautions throughout the season. See what this one has in store for us.
Yep, it's going to be interesting here. I'm nervous and excited. Langley is a track where there's not a lot of room for give and take. I mean, there's really not. There's not a lot of room for anything really out here. You got to be really careful. You got to make sure you make the corners, because if you overshoot that corner, You're going to wash up to that guy on your outside. I've said it a few times this season. I think tonight will be a double groove track. That's not in the case tonight. That's not nowhere in the book. We're going to see some bump and run. We're going to see some beating and banging because them drivers, they want to be on that yellow line.
Yeah, it is. Axiom out front. Here we go. Short track racing. And it's been some good ones here so far all season long. I've said it a couple times. I enjoy the short track stuff. And something came up, too, is talking before the race, some of the drivers. These are tough places to pass. And really, as we're getting set, the green flag flies. It is a tough place to pass here, Tanner. And really the only way I see passing, because trying to get through the field is very tough. You almost have to do a perfect bump and run on somebody or a dive bomb. And I hate saying it that way, but and usually that don't end up too well. And I know.
Right.
But it's so tough to pass on these tracks that unless you just have some help, you really are kind of stuck.
And I think that help tonight is going to be at Chrome Bumper. But is there any driver that can get to that 13 machine? We got some new hitters out here tonight, some familiar faces coming back to try it.
What's up, Kelly? Mark, how y'all doing out there? I think Kelly Coffee, as he's a gambler. Okay, so said Alex is a gambler. Well, let's see if he can gamble his way. He's sitting in 12th right now, and he's going to have his work cut out for him to get through this field. It's kind of spread out right here, though, Tanner. Everybody's kind of single file for the moment, which is, what we've seen, but I take it back. This is maybe like a one groove style track.
Joe, I apologize. I just got a message from our race control. So there's a former champion that raced at Langley here that passed away this past Saturday morning.
Oh, really, man? Wow.
Sean Beluzzo. He was car number 48, won a couple track championships in the modifieds there. So tonight, in memory of Mr. Sean Beluzzo, that's Scotty Stevens' actual home track, so he knows them. Competition caution will be lap 48 tonight instead of lap 50. So just a little bit of a change of the game plan. But, yeah, I'm starting to see these drivers are I'm starting to already see that cluster that we talk about every week. You're seeing the top 5 break away from the pack a little bit.
See that.
And everybody's pretty much single file, just clicking off laps.
Yeah, and, right now it's the time. You got a little bit ways to go. Be patient. We talk about it's really tough. You see right there, though, man, Carpenter caught that inside curve, kind of the apron. Now, you got to be real careful because, you can run off on it as Ed Brown has been blinking a little bit out there, having a little problem. But you can get down there on that apron because it is flat. Problem is, it's going to upset one of these cars if you try it.
So we noticed during practice, I heard drivers talking about it, you can use that apron a little bit on entry and in the middle of the corner. But from exit on, by the time you cross over, there's a little white line on the track. I guess it's part of the restart zone, if I had to guess, out of 4. If you hit that apron there, it just unloads the car. It makes it wicked loose, and I watched about 4 guys come around there and wreck during practice, pretty much back to back to back. So it's, like you said, it can help the car, it can upset the car. It's Russian roulette when you go down there at far.
And one thing I'm starting to see, like Zach Murphy here sitting in 5th place spot, car's getting a little tight. You can see it kind of washing up the track. You can see those top 4 now moving away. They look pretty dead even. You go back to 8, and he's kind of all alone. You got Kilroy. I said that right?
You did.
All right, good deal.
Yep.
Oh, I think I called him Kilroy a couple times in the past. But Kilroy.
Right, yeah, I mess it up all the time, every week.
No. But he's back in 7th there, and you're starting to see some guys, maybe fall off. Raymond, Jason here, he was talking before the race. He came close on a couple wins. Definitely would love to secure one. Willie Everham there. So, yeah, you're starting to see this. Guys may be better on the longer run now than the shorter run. We're about 18 in. Tires are starting to get what, you've got what you got. Coffee now is moving up. Here's what he needs to do, and exactly what he is doing. And this is kind of the only way I'd see somebody coming through the field. It's a perfect example. Pick them off one by one. He needs long green flag runs. He needs these guys to get single file like they are, spread out a little bit, that he can tackle each one by one. Problem is, it takes a long time to do that.
You got to work over that guy in front of you, Joe. And we normally talk about restarts in this series, get everything you can get. But on a track like this, not very wide, you're starting double file. that basically puts somebody like Coffee, who we know is fast, he's in a box. He basically can't go nowhere because he has 2 drivers in front of him and then the rest of the drivers, So you're exactly right. He needs a long green flag run right here, get a little bit of separation between the cars, and then he can start picking them off one by one, like you said. As you see the 55 trying to make a pass on the 21. I think the 21 made the heads-up move. Just went out of the way.
The perfect pass right there. So we're talking about what Coffee had to do. You saw that's Keith Mack who went around John Hine, and that's pretty much it. Was about a textbook pass as you can get. Looked like Hine got a little bit tight going up. Mack was able to go up underneath him and make that pass. So that's what Coffee's going to have to look out for. In the meantime, though, this guy, he keeps doing what he's doing. It really won't matter much about double points next week because he puts it in victory lane tonight. On in to that last race or so, he's going to have a pretty good lead.
And his points battle competition, really, I don't think third place is almost 40 points back. So it's basically a battle between Thomas Axiom and that 44 of Jason Raymond. You look where Jason Raymond's running right now. I think he's showing his P8. So there's a good gap of points right there. At least 7 points difference right there alone.
And Raymond's one of those has been very consistent. He's come through the field, but it is hard, because either Axiom's kind of on or he's off. Every time he has, not won, he's got up into trouble. He's had some, good finishes and whatnot, but there again, he's either had some trouble, and Raymond's been able to the reason he's been able to stay so close is because he's just been dead consistent. Might not have had the wins this season, but, and that takes me back to that saying again. Consistency wins championships, and that's how you do it. Exactly how you do it. The guy that might be out there dominating win after win, it's when he makes those bad races that you just keep being consistent. Even if you might not win that race, is make sure that you capitalize on his mistakes, and that's what Raymond's done.
Go back on last season again. I know I keep talking about it, but it's just point proven. So Jason Day, like I told you, he won 5 races last season, Joe, and he did not take the points lead until the very final race because Zach Murphy went out there. Yes, Zach won 1 race, but Zach finished top 5 almost weekly. And so, consistency is what wins championships.
Sure.
The wins are great. They look good on paper, but those top 5s add up, and they add up quick.
Looking at lap times, Coffee is actually was one of the fastest at that prior lap. Now he fell off a little bit on this one, but the last lap prior to that, he was one of the fastest. He ran 15:56, a little bit quicker than a lot of the guys in front of him, so he will get up there. But we talk about lap times week in and week out, and I talk about a lot of them on the NASCAR side because people don't realize what it takes to pass a car. And just give some examples. Right now, he ran a 15:59 to a 15:67 for Willie. If he was on his back bumper, that's a solid, it was almost a 10th. Right now, the last time he ran about 600s, about a half a tenth. A half a tenth is not fast enough to totally get around it. It would take a little bit for him to get to him. He could probably get to his side. It'd be side by side for a while. And it would probably take, I'd say, a solid 3 to 4 laps. He needs to be a tenth or so faster for him to automatically go right on by him without it taking a lot of laps to get it done. And that's where you can kind of read into the lap times because right now the top 10, Thomas ran a 15:53. Axiom, that time right there slipped a little bit, ran a 15:98, but it had been running 15:50. So that whole top 10 was within a tenth of each other, if not a half a tenth. And that tells you how just competitive that top end is and how hard it is to pass through this field.
You're exactly right. And that's what I love about short track racing. You know you're faster than the guy in front of you. Like you said, you may be a full tenth faster, but you're still going to work over that driver.
Yep.
Like you see right here. I'm watching, we got Thomas Axiom. He's caught lap traffic. And we know he's faster than Frank Barr because he's obviously caught him to lapping. But he's still, it's taken him 3 laps since he's got up here to actually get around that driver.
And he wants Barb to stay where he's at. You don't want that lap car to do any kind of wild movement or anything. But that was a perfect example of he's got to be patient to get around him. And Barb did an outstanding job. Just stay out of the way, stay up in his lane. and it's the leader's responsibility to get around him, and Thomas did, but you're right, it took him a while.
Notice a shake-up towards the front of the pack now. We had Jason Warren running second for a while. Jason Warren's actually fell back to P5, and that's allowed Brad Carpenter.
What happened to him? Let's,
AJ Rogers
he just hit the wall right there. Let's see what happened to. He went off track. Go back on the replay real quick here and just kind of see what happened. Maybe he had a little slip. Got on that apron down there we were talking about, but here he is. He's falling back just a little bit. He's in that purple machine, folks. So, kind of running. This is where he's already fallen back to the position. He's up underneath Barb. If he just overdrove it. Oh, a little contact between him and the lap car. Good save. And I didn't realize there was a heel there on the inside.
Oh, I didn't either. I did not either. Man, you can jump at right there. That's kind of dangerous, ain't it?
Yeah, but
that might be a little dangerous where it's at.
I see that. That was wild one there, but hey, good heads up. Good, save on his end. Save on everybody else on there, but unfortunately, don't know what happened to him prior to that. If he might have just caught that apron and got a little wiggly, because he definitely was up front, like you said. And we're seeing guys go on that bottom yellow line there. And with these cars, we've talked about it. These cars almost mimic what like an Indy car is. They're kind of stiff like that. They're nowhere near what a stock car would be, where you got a moving suspension a lot. I mean, the suspension moves, yes, but these are more like a big oversized go-kart, so to speak, with a rack and pinion steering. So there you go. But they still are a stiffer car, and any bumps or anything out there, you're gonna feel it.
Exactly right, and you're gonna feel it big time. Like whenever we just saw Jason Warren go over that grassy mountain, we'll call it. It was a hill. I promise you that force feedback on that driver's wheel was going crazy, because he definitely knew he was taking a race car off road right then. That's for sure.
We're riding with Coffee here, and this gives you a good example. Just when the way these tires turn, it almost turns the whole entire car. Again, almost indicative of like what an Indy car is. We talk about when these things get tight, it's almost like a four-wheel drift, so to speak. The whole car wants to drift on you. Yeah, you can step them out rear end wise, sure, you can do that with any car, but for the most part, they kind of get tight and they want to shoot up the track. If they get down on those rumble strips, it can kick that whole car up the track. So it just always amazes me to watch, even in an Indy car, how little those wheels are turning. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, barely any movement whatsoever. We have that's the competition caution for.
That's it.
For the modified driver out of Langley.
And Axiom's going to lead us to it.
Yep, led us to the caution. This is in memory of Sean Beluzzo. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that name right, but
well, we definitely want to give thoughts and prayers out there to his family.
Yep, 11-time track champion in the modified division here at Langley. So this is he was car number 48, passed away actually this past Saturday. So 64 years young, Joe. That's
enjoyed what he was doing in life, and that's the biggest thing. You got to enjoy it, and definitely, you don't want to see anybody pass away, but I guess if you're going to go doing something you enjoy doing, and that's what he did right there. But I think what you just saw on the track here, Tanner, actually I'm juking everybody out on pit road. This kind of here sets up that I don't think we're going to see any of the top guys pit. We do see from about 10th on back hitting, which, I mean, if you're back that far, you ain't got a lot to lose. But I think this right here sets the tone, and a little contact on.
Oh, you know what happened there?
Coffee had to stop.
The pit's closed on Coffee, and instead of taking, I don't think Coffee realized, if you exit a closed pits on a short track, it may be every track, but I know for sure on a short track, all it is the end of the line penalty. So you'll see people do that and get out in front of the pace car versus going a lap down. Now Coffee's going to be a lap down and got damage.
Yeah, the other car didn't realize it. Just kind of unfortunate, slammed in the back of him.
Oh, Frank Barb out there.
Yeah, Frank was just, I mean, no fault of his. I mean, I don't think he realized
didn't expect the driver to stop right there.
Hey, wait a minute, what are you doing? And that's just, I don't bring it up a lot in this series, but I do a lot in NASCAR side of things. Mental mistakes on the track can cost a driver. And a lot of times it is pit road. Pit road is probably the number one mental mistake on the track.
I agree.
When it comes to oval racing. You get in and out of your pits and get in and out of pit road. It can cost you a lot of positions and it can cost you the race. We see it right there. The reason I don't bring it up a lot here is because, well, there's not a lot of times that pit stops come into play. It's drivers out front here and it's going to come on the track. Now on a short track, yeah, you've got to hit your marks lap after lap, and you still got to do that on any track. But mental mistakes, man, I'm gonna tell you, it can cost you on pit road. And right there was one that is a perfect example. Coffee might have just cost himself the race because he put him a lap down. If there's no other caution here, and cross our fingers, we went actually. I think it's the first time we went to the competition caution on
the
green flag. So been a good one tonight, but here we go. Green flag back out. Thomas gets a good jump. They want to get those positions.
Yes, so apparently they didn't heed what I said earlier. Oh, we got Brad Carpenter going around. AJ Rogers gets a slight contact too. They're playing bumper cars right now.
And the reason is they saw that big run that they had. Everybody got spread out, single file. Now it's like, okay, I've got this. I know that I've got to get everything I can because it's getting harder to pass. And you can see it up front as Aiden Young's there in second. Rogers in the third part. Carpenter's trying to battle out on the inside of Rogers. Not going to be able to get that spot away as everybody falls back in line. And Zach Murphy back in the fifth place spot. So, yeah, a lot of those guys was fighting hard on that start because they saw earlier just how hard it was to pass, and everybody was kind of single file running.
With your iRacing live scoring and timing, Joe, you can see who pitted for what. Can you tell me who out of the group that's pitted who is the farthest up on the track?
Jason Warren right now, right there, the man that's sitting in ninth place spot. He pitted and had a 24-second pit time.
Okay.
And so that means he took 4 tires. We're going to see if those 4 tires pay dividend. And I talked about this. We have talked about it. It makes no sense. It kind of scratches my head sometimes because on a short track, tires should make a difference. They should. On a 1.5 mile, 2 mile track, a lot of times, no, it's track position. But it has been track position here. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact of how hard it is to pass. You see Warren right there is able to get around Everham, but you saw, excuse me, just how much it took him and to get around him. Keith Mack is the other guy, but now Keith only had 11-second stop. I'm not sure if he would have put 4 or maybe 2 on. So just not the pit stop it is. You'd have to go back to Alex Coffey being the first one lap down, obviously with another 4-tire stop. But Jason here, we're going to see now his lap time, and again, he's in traffic, so really it's kind of a misleading lap time because he ran a 15:42 to Thomas's 15:42, but Thomas is out in clean air, and he's back here having to get on and off the throttle, brake, and he's back here caught in traffic.
So it's looking as if, yes, right now Jason Warren, obviously he will be faster on fresh rubber if he ever was to get clean air out in front of him.
Oh yeah, clean air. If he was to get front, he'd be gone.
Think about how much he's going to use his tires trying to make each of these passes. Because we see him right here. He's behind Kilroy at 41 right now. And he has the 44 up in front of that 41. He has to try to get by both of these guys, but he's got to do it methodically. He's got to do it with patience. He can't be... You can't just risk it at a track like this because where do you go? You can't just dive bomb a guy that's on the bottom. Yeah. So it really puts a driver like this in a tough spot. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Short track racing is so hard when you know you're faster than the guy in front of you.
And we're riding along with him, and
he's trying everything.
You can see, you can see it. But the one thing about those new tires is you can see he's steady as everything. It's just straight on. And let's jump up here to Axiom. Remember, he's on an older set of tires. And let's see how he's doing tire-wise. If he maybe playing with that wheel a little bit. Sure, he's got clean air. He doesn't have to worry about anybody in front of him. You see him having to work it a little bit coming off the turn. As opposed to, let's go Brad Carpenter here. He's probably going to be working a little bit more because he's in the middle of cars in traffic. A lot older tires. You see it right there. Car got a little tight. I'm off of it. So, yeah, he's working maybe a little bit harder. And we go back to, like we say, Jason, who looks pretty steady now. I mean, because those new tires definitely feel good on the car. But he can't go anywhere.
Right, he's in that box, and each lap that goes by, he's losing his advantage. Every lap that passes by, that advantage he had with 4 Mr. Feelgoods starts to slip more and more and more.
And again, I go back to it. Just really, in theory, just don't make any sense. But you watch the races and you watch how everything goes. You see it, and that's why Thomas and those guys up front, opted not to pit. Good call on their end. You got Aiden sitting there in second. Thomas out front, Roger. So again, it's a good cluster of machines all the way. So the top 5 guys are kind of in a blanket. Actually, you got Raymond back there too. So everybody's kind of still grouped up a little bit.
I want to give a shout out to that Aiden Young. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Aiden Young, you cover a dirt series he races in, correct?
Yes, he races in dirt. I covered a lot of his NASCAR style races before that. And I remember he was on the NASCAR side of things, trucks and cups and all for the longest time. I've known Aiden since way back to about 2017.
We've talked a lot the past few days over Facebook Messenger, and I really like that guy. I think, if I'm not mistaken,
really good. He was a first responder too. He's a firefighter.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yep.
He's a firefighter, so not only crooked line, but I can promise you, Five Kings Motorsports, we salute that driver, Aiden Young, for his services. Thank you very much, Mr. Young. But I've talked to him a lot these past couple of days, and he's a good dude. I'm really glad to have him out in Crooked Line. He's fairly new here. I think he's done 2 or 3 races with us, Joe. But yeah, he is a good dude. I'm happy to see him running second right now.
And he's done well. When I watched him a lot of times in the NASCAR side of things on asphalt, he was very fast on that. And I remember the times he started to come into dirt, because when I started broadcasting, there was no dirt.
Right.
iRacing did not have that at all. So I'd been here to the beginning of it.
Yeah, you sound like an old man saying back in my day.
I know,
right
back
there.
in my day, back in my day when I first started. It wasn't that long ago, folks. So
right, it wasn't.
But he was, primarily on the asphalt side of things. Did a lot of cupping on, and he would be up front. He was a pretty good up front driver. He'd definitely have his times where he'd have bad runs, and then the dirt come along. And I remember his first times on dirt, boy, it was a struggle. And now he can get it done on that side too. So it's good to be diversified. I've seen a lot of guys, come from the dirt and try to go back to the asphalt and just can't do it. And right now, well, I'm going to tell you what, A.J. Rogers is teetering on putting that nose up underneath him, though.
He's trying. He is trying to get there. But speaking of Aiden and dirt, and then we'll get off that, I've seen a couple plaques that he has, Joe, from being a series champion. So, yeah, he gets it done on the dirt side. And obviously, he gets it done on the asphalt side, too. He's running P2 right now.
And, you talk a lot about drivers. Most of the time, asphalt drivers, they tend to stay maybe with the asphalt. They might go to road racing, and they might go to oval racing, and that's the biggest thing. You used to not see a lot go from the dirt or from asphalt to the dirt. Now you might, but a lot of guys, they either like the dirt and they want to stay on it, or they want to come over to the asphalt side of things and stay on it. And then, they have their preference, and, you've got teams out there that love different. And, you're speaking of teams, and unfortunately on pit road, John Hine out here who does run, he runs with Gambler Motorsports. They are a race team that actually does run anything pretty much on asphalt. I don't know how Five Kings, does Five Kings run anything like asphalt, dirt, and everything?
We run it all. So
okay, yeah. So you're almost like the Gambler then. They run the endurance races, road races.
Yep.
Oh, we got a crash.
17 going around.
Yeah. Oh, it was a big one.
Ooh, there goes the second place in the points, Jason Raymond.
Let's go back here. There was a big battle. We were talking, and we was just watching this battle too, because I was giving a heads up. Rogers was really up there harassing Young a lot. I don't know. Well, look at him. He got that bumper. I don't know if maybe this was a product of he got up under him, or did the green machine behind him back there get into him? They all just checked up in his accordion. Let's watch it one time here. Yep, that's kind of what it looks like. That 31. 17 had to check up, and then, oh man, the 44 of Raymond, nowhere to go. That's a heartbreaker for him, because points right there. So we're talking about something he didn't need, just wrong place, wrong time. But that kind of looked like a product from my end of, AJ was trying to get around Young. He had to check up a little bit. The car behind him, just nowhere to go. Got in the back end, just an accordion effect. We see that time and time in racing.
I bet A.J. Rogers wishes he would have gave Aiden a bump or something right then, so he could have just got by because he was working over Aiden. But you know what we say? You can get to that driver. It's a whole different story trying to pass that driver. Aiden Young was doing everything right. He wasn't blocking him. He wasn't doing anything. He was driving his line. He was holding his line. He was racing the racetrack and making the boys race him, and that's what he was doing.
And that's a controversial subject when you talk about drivers. You just said something there. You know, from Roger's point of view, he's going, Aiden, get out the way. You're slow. Right. I'm faster. But the thing about it is, and as a driver, you're sitting back there going, man, you know, move, you know, get out.
I get that part, you know, but like you're racing.
You're racing, and here's the thing. Aiden was not erratic all over the track. He wasn't like going high in a turn, coming down, swooping in front. He was holding his solid line. So that brings me back to like the lap cars. I know sometimes leaders get mad, get out the way, lap car, but you just don't want a lap car to go erratic in front of you because it could get you in trouble. It would have been Roger's job to get around Aiden, and if he couldn't get around him on the outside or get around him or make him push up the track where he could get around him on the inside, then basically you just got to be patient and wait to that opening and hope that guy in front of you makes a mistake.
And you know, on the contrary of that, you said it was Roger's job to get around Aiden. It's Aiden's job to stay in front of Rogers, and that's why I love racing right there. I mean, if we're on the interstate or something like that, cool. If you're faster than me, I'll pull over to the right. You can have the hammer down lane, you know? But we're racing out here. That's what I've actually...
I would have said if Aiden was back and forth, went high, went low, and just weaving
if he was
and
chopping,
blocking, you know, and...
If AJ Lowe kept trying to look underneath him and was clearly faster than Aiden kept on chopping his nose off or cutting him down to the grass, then I would say, okay, now
we've seen
Aiden's
that too,
probably about to get wrecked. Right, exactly. That's blocking then. But AJ was never getting there because Aiden never opened the door for him. He was doing everything just right because why? They're racing. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what.
And it is frustrating on Roger's part. I mean, I get it. Right. It's frustrating on his.
I've been in that spot. I get it.
There's really not a lot you can do or say on that. You know, it's just a racing deal, and I know it's frustrating. Unfortunately, it ended up bad on his end. What's up, Matt? How you doing out there? He gets set to go back. I tell you what, Thomas though out front. I don't know how much he probably wanted to see this caution. Which I mean, probably didn't really. Not that bad for him because he's been out front, you know, kind of dominating all race long.
We see we do have fresh tires coming, but has Mr. Warren, 32 gets the 2 a shot right then. Has a 32 used up that equipment too much trying to get up through the field? That's always what you got to wonder. We're on lap 91 of 125, and they're doing about 13-second laps, Joe. They're going to go by fast.
Go back to what we were talking about Rogers there. You saw what Murphy did over Young. He was able to get on his inside and just muscle his way past him. And, you know, that's pretty much what you have to do. You know, Young was up high, and then Murphy was able to make that pass on. And now you got Keith Mack back in 5th, Warren there in 4th. Rogers didn't lose too much. He's back in 7th. You got Gilroy right there sitting in 6th. Raymond, who got caught up in that, not bad. Was able to, you know, stay back up, stay in 8th place, stay on the lead lap. So not too bad on his end. It could have been more disastrous. I think Raymond really would love to see Axiom not win this race.
He would like to see white smoke coming from Axiom's car or something at this point, if I had to guess.
Disconnect or something like that.
Yeah,
so, I mean, I know he doesn't want anybody to get up there and wreck him. I mean, we don't want nobody to do anything like that.
I bet he probably does, too. He probably does.
In the back of his mind, there you go.
I can tell you, I talk to Raymond every day because he is part of our team. Murphy trying to climb the wall a little bit. We've seen that so much this season. This season, we've seen that. These cars, with the way they're open, they just get up on the wall and just climb it. I mean, they just climb the wall.
I want to touch back on, you know, we don't advocate for guys to get out here and run guys over, but yeah, we as a racer, it's fun for us up here in the broadcast booth, but as a racer, I know you're thinking down there, man, I wish just something would happen to that dude up there. You know, but you think that, but you ultimately also are going, no, you know, I like the competitiveness and so because everybody's competitive, but you know, it is wild. Got a good battle back here, run about 10th place spot.
That's Jason Ward going back.
Yeah.
On
he's
fresh
not had
rubber.
Tonight. He's wanted tonight, hasn't he?
No. On fresh rubber and just went it was like voluntarily just said, here, y'all pass me. I'm not sure what's going on with that 32 machine.
Yeah, just not feeling the track here or something, just not like his liking. Coffee is another guy. I got caught up in an incident earlier on. Back in 11th, just not been able to make any headway towards the front. Just takes us back to just how tough it is to pass and how level this whole field is throughout the entire race. From the start all the way back. I mean, lap-wise, Thomas ran a 15:42. You go all the way to 14th place spot. Actually, 15th place spot. 15:77. Not even. That might be a half a second, but even at 14th place, 15:46. That's not even a tenth, separating 14 cars.
That's why, like, if somebody would ever say, well, look, you only got 14 cars on the track, how's that entertaining? Because we have 14 cars out on track that are within a tenth of each other usually. So, I mean, that's just...
And that's why we do get it makes it exciting. It really makes it, yeah.
But that is why we get caution, because the competition is so stiff that everybody's usually... We have these clusters where everybody's just on top of each other.
Yep.
And all it takes is one lapse, one mistake. One small mistake can be brutal. I mean, it can make or break a race. It can even make or break a season as you're getting down this late into the season.
Coffee's still trying to work over Keith Mack here. That's going to be for the 8th and 9th place spot. Looks like Mack's going to go a little high. Coffee's going to be able to make that pass under him, and that's what he has to do.
Slight contact.
Yeah, but that was perfectly about what Coffee has to do. Pick them off one by one as he goes through the field. But man, this guy here, he's got it on lockdown. Looks like Rails out front. Got a pretty good lead, a 1.5 second, almost 2 seconds over Murphy. In second place spot. It's just when he might get in that lap traffic. And if he keeps going green, he definitely will.
Absolutely. Axiom last night was at another very short track, Nashville Fairgrounds Mini Oval in the super late models. Oh, we got a caution now on the Speedway.
Coffee.
No way.
Oh, man, he was just coming through the field. Let's see what happened to him. Oh, caught the wall. We were talking about it.
Yeah, and look what happened.
Magnetized that wall, and then he went up there on the anthill.
No, that's an ant mountain.
Who was that?
That's Ed Brown coming through
Brown,
there.
Yeah. Now he's crab walking.
Oh.
He's hurt that car.
Yeah, he's hurt that car's feelings. Look at that.
Yeah, it is. Thing's kind of walking
Joe,
sideways.
Ask you. I know you're close to the Bowman Gray, so I imagine you've seen some modifieds racing in real life, and if you haven't, maybe you'll still know the answers. I'm not fortunate enough. I've not ever really seen these cars in real life. Do you think if they would hit the wall in real life, they would actually climb it the way they do in iRacing?
No, they'd tear the front end of it off. I mean,
they could just rip it off.
It would be almost like what it does in Indy cars. I mean, because again, I take it back to these are Indy cars. Now, and here's the thing: it really don't make a lot of sense in iRacing, and it's got to be a physics thing, folks. I know it's the difference between virtual and real. These cars climb the wall, but an Indy car, they don't. They slam the wall. Go play an Indy car on here.
They disintegrate,
They disintegrate, yeah.
Right.
So I don't know what they've done physics-wise on the difference. But, yeah, in real life, no car's going to climb. Well, I ain't going to say it's not going to climb the wall. But if it does, it's coming to pieces while it's climbing the wall. Yes, we see in real life cars, get up on the wall on two wheels and whatnot. But usually when they do that, it's smashed the front end or under end of the car. It's not just going to, bounce off like it does here. Now, why bringing that up? I mean, obviously in the virtual world to the real world is way different. But when they do get that damage model over to all their cars, because they do have one,
it will be better.
It will be better.
Great. I like it on some cars. I do.
I think it's cool, and I think they have it on the Skippy car too. So that'd be the closest to what these would be. And I've seen a couple videos. So when they hit that wall, you'd be done.
Lose the front tire, staying on that point, my dad used to race short tracks when I was growing up as a kid. He used to. I remember he told me this before. He said, if you ever see a car wreck, and when it disintegrates like that, he said that's the best thing for the driver. Yes, they destroyed their car, but that's taking all that energy, and that's where it's going. He said, if you ever see a guy hit a wall and they only lose just a few pieces of sheet metal, he said that's when you'll see the track workers. They're going to rush to that car because they know that driver took all that force and energy in what he's in, basically like a cocoon. And
And Indy cars
so
are
Indy
the
cars-
worst looking
Right.
trashes out
Exactly.
there, but they are
Exactly. That's what
now,
I'm
don't
getting
get
to.
me wrong. If they hit
It's still
hard enough,
dangerous.
it's still
Right.
dangerous. I mean, 200, 250 mile an hour, sometimes they can hit those walls. It still can blast through that whole entire car. But you're right. That is to take away the energy. That's any car, is to take away the energy. And, you know, some of the lightest crashes in the world have been the most deadly crashes in the world.
Right.
Some of the worst crashes in the world we've seen them walk away from and whatnot. But green flag's back at Axiom, boy, with 13 to go. Gets a
Just on
huge jump out
rails.
front.
Gets a great restart. That's what he needed. But yeah, when my dad used to tell me that, I always feel like, that's crazy. That don't make no sense.
It don't
you
make
think,
no sense, but I
you
ain't a
think if it
physics
was
major either. so-
Right, exactly. That's what I was about to say. I'm just a good old boy from Kentucky, so I don't know all about the
That's
physics.
it. I understand kind of how it is, you know, force and energy and all that. But you look at it, it makes no sense on
Right,
how it
because
works. You know,
You see,
Yeah.
well, there was an Indy car at Indy 500 during practice. I can't remember who it was. Folks, forgive me. I don't follow Indy. I know. I'm sorry, but he wrecked during practice, and Joe, that car just disintegrated. Pieces went everywhere, and he got up and walked away from it. And like when you're watching it with the eye test, you're like, oh my gosh, dude, this like pray for this dude, think of this dude's family, you know,
Yeah.
and he's okay. So I mean, that just goes to show.
that is
But look
interesting
here.
out there.
Look
Kelly
here.
out there, I was good thing out there was just talking about coffee, and he said raced Bandoleros with Jim Holloman, who when he was little, Holloman raced modifies at Bowman Gray. Bowman area is a good place. They get a good crowd. As far as great racing, yeah, they can. But the bad
I've
thing
changed
is
my
about, well, the bad thing about Bowman Gray is it usually ends up in a wreck fest there, and a lot of guys, everybody has their opinion about Bowman Gray.
Right.
To me, Bowman Gray is just it is almost a quarter-mile track.
It's WWE for racing in my mind.
It really is. And unfortunately, I hate to say it that way. I mean, because they can have some good racing there. We have other great tracks like Caraway Speedway here and whatnot, but Bowman Gray can have some good racing. But a lot of times the racers out there lose their heads. Let's say it that way.
I want to, if you have Amazon TV, look up Race Night at Bowman Gray. Costs
Yeah.
$12 for the whole series. Hey, that changed my tune on Bowman Gray. Those boys, it's these cars, they go out there and race. I know we're talking over the race, but we're still talking. You know, we're bringing you the action here.
I mean, right now,
live and
Axiom's got it
Right.
under control with
Right.
Murphy in second. Yeah.
But it actually, so I just finished up the season last week, Joe, and it actually changed how I thought about Bowman Gray. It really did. So in my mind, when somebody said Bowman Gray, I used to always think that's never going to come to iRacing because they want to distance themselves away from that kind of racing, you know. But
Well, I hope it don't come to iRacing because
I hope it does. I think it'd be
Well,
awesome.
yeah,
we'll
I
be
mean,
there next
okay.
season if it is.
It would
We're
be
getting Hickory. We are getting Hickory. I'm glad
Yeah,
about
Hickory's
that.
a good track. I mean, it would be good. Now, obviously, they can make Bowman Gray look great, but on a normal night, as the white flag flies one more time for Thomas Axiom here, who's just dominated. But the last thing I say is Bowman Gray can be a great track if the guys got there and do a great race, but it can be a wild one. As Axiom comes out of turn 4, final time, he's going to put it in victory lane and extend that lead. Going into our races, Raymond's going to come home in second. Raymond's going to come home in 7th. Murphy there in 2nd. Rogers up in the 3rd, but I don't know. Can anybody stop Thomas Axiom out here? This guy is just on rails running this place, and he's going to burn it down for us right there. But wow, that was a good dominating run. Actually, I think he led every lap from the first to the end here. I think that's the first time we've seen that all season. And in fact, I think that is. Kelly said, yeah, the Madhouse. You're right. That's what it's called, the Madhouse. And I don't know where Tanner went. Tanner went somewhere on me. He left in the middle of the... Where'd Tanner go? Probably had to go check on something or he had some internet problems, folks. But all right, well, let me see if I can find these guys and bring them up here and get a word with them for you. I can't find. Well, there's Tanner's back. Tanner, what happened to you?
I'll guess I dropped internet or something, but we're back on. There we go. I'm out
Absolutely. But no bad. Well, let's bring the. You brought the second place guy down. Can't find the third place, but anyways, I was basically saying Tanner here
I'm
up in the
sorry,
booth
guys.
with me that what I was talking about was, Thomas Axiom. I think this has been the first time that anybody's led from the green flag to the last lap here in the season. But hey, we got second place man Murphy here.
Hey, how we doing?
Well, you know,
Doing
Zach
good.
was doing good until internet just randomly shut off. I don't know how I got back in here so quick, but luckily we're here. You ended up bringing it home P2, I do believe. I got kicked from the server, but I was watching
Yes.
that last restart there. You were sticking right there with Axiom. Now we were talking about other stuff, but you was sticking right there with Axiom. Do you think if there was another late race restart that maybe you could have had something for him, even though you would be starting on the outside there?
Yeah, that last one, I don't know, I was a tough one. I had AJ down low, and I got in there, and then I kept making mistakes, and that was my problem. But I don't know if I had anything for him. Thomas was always fast, so happy to come home second.
All right, on Zach. I know you are. I mean, you had an impressive season last season. Like I told Joe, you led the points for most of the season, and then had a little last few rough weeks, but I mean, it happens. But you brought it back out here this season. I know you went on vacation and stuff. I'm hearing requests from our setup builder. He told me to ask y'all what you thought about the setup for tonight. So we kind of struggled building the setup. I can't lie.
It was pretty neutral. I thought it leaned a little tight, if anything. Coming out of 2, I got in the wall a few times, and 4, you had to wait on it. But I mean, overall, it felt pretty good, I thought.
All right, good deal.
I
good deal.
like my cars a little tighter though, so everybody likes them a little different.
Right on to you. Well, Zach Murphy brought it home P2. I wish I could have saw the finish, but Windstream had other ideas. Zach, you got any sponsors or shout you want to throw out to make that 29 so fast?
Yeah, I think I'm number 2 this week, but
Right.
yeah, just thanks the guys over at SimCrow, my team I race with every week, and thank the Crooked Line for putting this on. Where are we going next week?
Next week will be New Hampshire double points.
Is that the finale?
That's the finale of the season.
All right, wow, that'll be fun.
Zach, I'm trying to pull up the points for you. If you bear with me just a second, I will tell you. I don't know what happened right there with my internet. That's crazy. We got, before this race goes in, Zach, you are currently sitting 7th, but you do know you'll have drop weeks to go in next week, and that will change it how it is for sure.
That'll make it interesting.
Yeah, because you did miss 2 weeks because you was on vacation, so.
And it's
gonna
point,
be
right? So
yep, and next week's double points, New Hampshire.
I got me last season.
That's what I was talking to Joe about that. This whole broadcast, basically, that you led all season, went into the last race, and between the drop weeks and that double points, it just kind of bit you in the foot.
Yeah, well, New Hampshire's a little better track than me for Martinsville, so it should be fun next week. Thank you guys for putting this on.
Yes, sir, Zach. Thank you for coming out. That's P2 on the board. That's Zach Murphy in the 29 machine.
Absolutely, right there. Did an outstanding job. And I don't see the third place man, AJ Rogers.
I'm not seeing him in Discord.
But we'll just drop up here for our winner tonight here, Thomas Axiom. Thomas, join the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I do not think all season long we've had anybody set it on pole, lead lap 1 all the way to the end of the race and win the race. But you did that tonight, and that was quite impressive. That's going to set you up for next week. Well, it might be next week if we don't know if we're going to take it off yet. But we'll say next week for the double points night, and it's going to extend your lead here too. So how does that make you feel, and how was that car tonight?
Car felt pretty good. A little tight, probably like 6 out of 10 tight, but saved the right front. Usually races like that, you want to save the right rear, but in this case, car was tight, so saved the right front, and I definitely did very well with that. And, I was turning some silly lap times at the end there. I just went back and looked. I hit a 2:14, and in qualifying, I was only down to a low O or a low 9, and to hit a 2:4 after 125 laps, it shows that the old tires that prevail. But next week will be different. At Loudon, did a couple of official races a few weeks ago, and I know how the tires will be. So coming from the back next week, it's going to be the same game. It's going to be save, and know when to choose your battles, and know when to just save and just be smart and keep the car clean.
Well, you definitely did a lot of that tonight. I mean, getting out front, and we've talked about it all season long, how important it is to get out front over tires. And it you know, me and Tanner get in conversation because it really just, it mind blows us a lot because it just don't make any sense on short track racing, but it has definitely paid dividends to whoever's won. I mean, why, in your opinion, why is it that these tires just do not fall off like they probably should on a short track?
See, I don't know. Like, at lap 48, when that yellow came out, when we had an awesome 50-lap run, man, like, that was just so awesome seeing all these guys race clean on a track like that. Short track, nice, small. But lap 48, it was, I don't know if I wanted to pit or not because we did fall off a half a second. We fell off 5/10, so I was thinking about pitting, but I decided it was a little too early if I want to take tires. And yellow comes out, and as soon as the yellow comes out, the tires cool down and they go back to normal, and then they fall off just a little bit faster. It's very strange. As soon as the yellow comes out, it's like they put on new tires, but new tires, no grip.
Yeah, and then there you go. I mean, you just said it. It is mind-blowing, head-scratching, but nonetheless, you put it in victory lane, extend that lead going into the last race of the season, double points night. You got anybody you want to thank for an awesome win?
Yeah, thank you for commentating for these races and putting it on. I love going back and watching your YouTube videos and love watching the races. Tanner putting on Crooked Line Racing, the Five Kings Motorsports guys. And then my sponsors, Bernier's Liquor, Studios 10 Designs. My mom was watching tonight, so shout out to my mom and my grandparents for watching.
There you go. Love the family members out there. And definitely, hey, Mom, what's going on? He put it in victory lane, dominated the race tonight. Again, Axiom, congratulations on that awesome win.
Thank you, Mr. Joe. Have a good night, sir.
There we go. It's Thomas Axiom putting in victory lane. And Tanner's, I guess, having a little internet issues. I've been down that road a couple times. But, folks, I tell you what, it was an awesome race here tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. For myself and everyone here, have a good night here for the Five Kings Motorsport Crooked Line Racing Tour Modified.